Hello, friends. Hey, how's it going, guys? Oh my God, 3 days of Manifesto in a row. Whew, and I am exhausted. This one was luckily shorter and smaller than the one yesterday. Today was talking about auras, curses, and damage over time. The short of it is that auras and curses, they did their best to change the way that reservation is working, so you can't easily reserve a whole bunch of auras basically for free by stacking reduced reservation. The main thing that I'm kind of worried about there is low life, because with a low life build, you want to reserve some things with life. And previously, reduced reservation would also affect your life reservation in addition to mana. And now with the new efficiency reservation modifier, that is only for mana. So low life might be in a little bit of a weird place. Maybe Chaos Inoculation will rise up and be ascendant to this league. Looking at curse bots and aura bots, people that are doing group play, that are doing crazy things with aura bots, they're just going to be kind of where they were before Delirium League, and they're still going to do it. People are going to do group play. Maybe they'll just run 2 aura bots now and they'll share the auras. I think they're still going to be really, really strong. Curse bots, they're not going to be as strong, but I think they're still going to do things with like culling bots, being able to push their magic find as high as possible, and it's still going to be there. I don't think it really affected group play too much, slowed them down a little bit, but people that are going to play at super high efficiency and taking advantage of how that works in the game will still be doing that. Now, damage over time, it looks bonkers. Until we get the full patch notes, who knows, maybe the base damage numbers on certain other skills will get nerfed, the ones that they didn't explicitly call out. So maybe Essence Drain gets hit a little bit and it doesn't feel as good, but if they leave the base numbers of all of the damage over time things where they are, or with the new buff stuff for the elemental ones, I am very excited to play Path of DoT. I think damage over time is looking very, very juicy. That's the short impressions right now. I can't talk too much right now. As I said yesterday, it is even closer now. In exactly 14 hours from time of recording at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, October 8th, I will be giving a Path of Exile University talk on twitch.tv/Zizarin. It's going to be really, really exciting. I'm going to be going into a lot of detail about high-level concepts and frameworks about how you can start getting into making builds yourself. If you're interested in that as a beginner to intermediate player, this might be very helpful, and I think it'll actually be helpful for more advanced players as well. Let's just get right into the read-through. Much shorter than yesterday, so just lean back and enjoy the read-through and have a good time. All right, thank you. Time for the Manifesto. Day number 3, auras, curses, and elemental damage over time. Let's see how big it is. What? Okay. Okay. All right. Speed run. Let's go. In our upcoming expansion, we will talk about things. Let's start. Support characters, auras, and other reservation effects. Problem. RMR provides very little benefit at low values, but becomes very powerful when heavily invested in. This allows players to run every single aura in the game. It also forces RMR to be balanced around extreme levels of investment, limiting how useful it can be to characters that do not run blah, 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 a ton. Finally, characters that heavily invested in RMR in order to run more skills on mana were also able to reserve life extremely effectively as well with no further investment. AKA aura bots and aura stackers are OP as hell. Let's see how they address that. Replace RMR with reservation efficiency. Interesting. When stacked, it does. Excuse me, I'm getting verklempt here a little bit. When stacked, reservation efficiency does not allow for infinite auras. This can be given out much more liberally as a result. So something likely with diminishing returns here. Letting characters run additional reservation effects with only a couple sources of it. The average character benefits, but the top end of extreme has been made significantly weaker. Let's see how they're going to scale it. Okay, they hid all the text. All right, this is what they did, guys. They hid all the text. All right. Modifiers to reservation have been replaced with reservation efficiency. It works by dividing the cost of the effect. 100% increased reservation efficiency would halve the cost of all auras. 50% reservation efficiency cuts down costs enough to let you reserve an additional 50% reservation aura. Okay. Interesting. Passives and item modifiers with reduced reservation have been replaced with the efficiency, generally double the value, but sometimes different values. This means that a small amount investment is more impactful than before. Okay. The vast majority of reservation efficiency offered is now mana specific in order to prevent reserving both life and mana being the default choice for a build heavily invested in reservation. Generic reservation efficiency and life reservation efficiency are still available on some modifiers. If not mentioned below, all sources are now specifically for mana reservation efficiency at twice the value. Modifiers on existing items are affected. Notable passive skills granted on existing items are affected. Everyone in standard, you guys are dead. All your Oro stackers and everything in standard, they're gone. They just disappeared. Poof. All right. Notable passive skills granted by cluster jewels that previously granted RMR of a specific aura now grant 60% increased reservation of that skill for auras that have 50% base reservation. And 100% for auras that have 35%. Okay, yes, got it. The Hierophant Sanctuary of Thought Notable now provides 25% increased mana reservation efficiency instead of 10% less mana reservation. Helmet enchantments that previously granted RMR now get the increased value of the efficiency. Existing items will instead have twice the previous reduced value. Enchantment for skills that have 50% now grant 30% increased. Blah, 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 blah. Yes. The corrupted implicit modifier on jewels that provided 1% RMR now provides 2% increased efficiency. The corrupted implicit on jewels that provided, Skyforth now grants 12% efficiency instead of 6% RMR. Hiri's Truth grants 100%. So these are, all right, these are all the exacts, it's just they're scaling everything by double. Effectively. There's a little tweaks here and there, but it's efficiently scaling everything by double here. And interesting. Prism Guardian. Yeah. Holy cow. Essence Worm, 80% efficiency. Memory Vault, 20% efficiency. Unique items that grant a specific skill 100% now cause that skill to have no reservation. Okay, so All's Uprising is still valid. Or I guess All's Uprising, the wording says no reservation, but things like that. Got it. Items that previously caused socketed gems to have reduced have been balanced separately to other effects. Existing items will be updated, but still display old values unless updated. So that's weird. So what the text will no longer describe what's on the item anymore, right? Existing items will be updated, but they will still display the old values. Has that ever been the case in the game before? I don't think that's cool. That seems almost like always you would just keep the old values unless you divined it. I don't know. This feels like a break in the contract, right? The contract is the text that you read is what the item does. Okay. The Shaper and Hunter influence shield modifiers. Oh, this is actually nerfed, right? Most of the other things. Dang, I relied on that a lot. So previously on last week's episode, all of these other values get doubled, right? However, the shield modifier, which I use a lot in a lot of my builds, is it's only getting 50% more instead of doubling it. All right. Yeah, improvise, overcome, adapt. Yep. The synthesized implicit modifier that previously granted 10% now grants 20. Yep. Prism Guardian now grants 30% increase instead of that. That's a gigantic Prism Guardian nerf. Holy smokes. Victario's also got nerfed. Yeah, so a lot of these things, they only gave plus 50% instead of doubling the value. Yeah, the general contract that we have with GGG is the words that we read mean that's the thing that it does. And I really don't like that you have to use a divine orb just to show what the thing does. There's obviously some way that they're programming the system now that breaks the ability for that to happen. But as far as I understood, what the text on the item does actually directly dictated. And now they're kind of, I don't know, they're either adding another layer in the middle or something, but they're like, there might be an additional complexity now where the text no longer has a one-to-one relationship with what happens with the item, which is a very dangerous chasm to cross. Like, so in programming, if you have ever, it's adding a layer of complexity, right? So previously, you could think of it as, okay, the game needs to do something. You have an item, right? And the game needs to do something with the item. The game just goes, okay, what is the text on the item? Boom, boom, boom. This is what the item does. Do the thing. Now there is the item. There's the text on the item. Then there's a hidden value. I hate hidden values in most things in games. There's now a hidden value that may not be one-to-one with what that text is. There's something else going on there. Maybe that's always been there, but this is the first time I can think of where the text does not directly mean what it does. And that means there can be like bugs, right? Where like there may be systems in the game that say, look at the text, ignore this third thing. And now there's this third thing that, you know, maybe some systems don't know to talk to, and it just adds more complexity, more problems. Kivu, yes, that I think that is my understanding, is with 100% efficiency, you can reserve 50% auras and have zero mana remaining. I think that sounds right to me, but maybe there's like some other stacking diminishing returns. Look at Transcendence before last patch. Oh, true. You're true, Techo. Yeah. I feel like in the past it was not the case, but maybe they introduced a system not too long ago. Chicken Stew, you had to go to a cooler room in the house to comprehend this? So normal builds that don't use low life. So here's the thing, low life shaking in the boots. Don't sleep on how this affects low life. No, so maybe we're going to get to this a little bit later. I don't think we are, right? There's nothing, this is almost nothing here, right? Don't sleep on low life. Right? Currently, you can use RMR to reserve less with low life as well. It's all your reservation. So, low life builds might be hurt by this significantly. Like previously, because like it's arrogance support, I think it's arrogance support now, has a pretty big multiplier on it, and you were able to counter that multiplier pretty decently by stacking RMR on your gear. And now with only what RE, whatever you want to call it, reservation efficiency, RRE something, now that no longer affects your arrogance support reservation, so you're not going to be able to support, reserving things for your life is going to be much, much more difficult. This might be a pretty significant nerf to low life. Okay, so crazy IRE, call it IRE. Yeah, Aura bots and Aura stackers pronks, they're looking rough, man. Yep, in general, regular players are able to stack maybe 1 or 2 additional auras with just lightly investing into reduced reservation. But aura stackers and aura bots, maybe the numbers are big enough, right? Maybe the numbers are big enough, but they're not going to be able to use literally infinite auras, right? Like currently, you can literally socket as many auras as you have gems in your slots, and now you're not going to be able to do that. Definitely. So I think that is a good thing for the game, getting rid of the aura bots and aura stackers. However, what this means, I'm a little worried about low life, but we'll see, I guess. All right, characters specialized in maximizing the power of auras provided an insane amount of damage and defense to party members. Solution: remove sources of aura effect from cluster jewels and move the aura cluster jewels type to small cluster jewels. So it is no longer possible to continuously stack aura effect for your party. Introduce a new cluster jewel notable to increase the effect of your auras on you for builds that are building auras for their own power. Cute. The aura cluster jewel type can be found on small cluster jewels rather than medium cluster jewels. This makes it more costly and less impactful to stack large numbers of aura cluster jewels. The small passives now grant 6% increased reservation efficiency instead of increased aura effect. Wow. Cluster jewel notable passive skills all have aura effect removed.
Oh, Frostbolt? Pew, pew, pew.
Yo, thanks for the follow, CNA. The increased aura effect of auras on you from the Purposeful Harbinger. Cluster jewel notable now only applies to auras that affect you. The Master of Command cluster.
Come on, horsies.
Yo, Vidmar, thanks for the resub, man. Cheers. Cluster jewel notable passives that grant RMR to specific auras now grant high amounts of efficiency to that aura.
Pew, pew, pew.
And Chicken Stew, thanks for following. Added cluster jewel notable passives that grant high amounts of efficiency to specific auras, as well as some other small bonus. For example, Zealotry has 60% efficiency and 10% increased effect of consecrated ground you create. So they gave you a little put a little carrot on the stick for you there. They gave a little bit of additional buff to certain auras. Okay. The Jinxed Juju Amulet now provides 10% increased effective curses instead of 10 to 15, and 5 to 10% increased effective non-curse auras instead of 10 to 15. Man, curse and aura bots. I mean, doesn't affect me really, but dang. Okay. Curse bots. Let's see. Characters specializing in cursing provide too much stuff to their party. Solution: make curse cluster jewels a small cluster jewel. This is going to affect a lot of other builds. Greatly improving, because a lot of builds use those curse. I use it in some of my builds. With many notables reworked to benefit specific curses significantly, greatly improving a regular character. So this might be nice, if you want to improve your despair, something like that. Make significant changes to Dodra's skin, as it applies many curses at no cost. Yeah, so general curses might be getting some nice buffs here. The curse cluster jewel can now be found on small cluster jewels rather than medium ones. Harder to stack. Yep, exactly the same as above. Notables changed. Evil Eye, Whispers of Death, and Dark Discourse have been reworked. In general, curse effect that applies to all curses no longer exists. As new curse-themed notable passives. Okay, what do they do now? Do you tell me? You don't tell me. I really want to know. I use Whispers of Death and Evil Eye all the time. Lord of Drought, Blizzard Crawler, blah, blah, blah. Now all grant 40% increased effect to specific curses. Previously 25. That's a buff for non-regular, non-cursed dudes. Forbidden Words no longer gives you 5% increased effect to curse. Now 20% increased reservation efficiency of curse aura skills. That's a nerf. Okay. Added new curse cluster jewel notable passives that benefits Doom, Marks, and Hexes that previously didn't have their own notables, for such as Punishment and Tempt Chains. Ooh, for example, 20% chance for Hexes to be applied. I don't care about Doom. Dodra Skin, dang, I really want to know how they affect the Marks. Dang, I knew they were going to say something about Doom. Dodra Skill now grants Hexes from socketed skills can apply 5 additional curses. It previously granted... so also that Doom thing, my friend has a Doom build that he's going to do next league. This is a huge buff for my friend. It previously granted Hexes from socketed skills, ignore curse limit. This is so replica Dodra's damning has some downside. Now grants 20% less effect of your curses instead of reduced of socketed. Okay. Now has a short cast time. Oh, there's your nerf. There's your nerf. Oh, it used to have a cooldown but be instant, and now Dodra's effigy has a cooldown, has a cast time. Oh. Okay. Rip. Okay. And has a mana cost. Okay. Well, existing items will be affected by this curse limit change, so they only have 20% less of curse triggered by Dodra's effigy.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yo, Kickapoo, thanks for the follow. Some other uniques have been rebalanced. Replica Dodra's Damning Ring now gives you less effective curse. You can update it to the new values with the Divine Orb. So Replica Dodra's Damning in Standard will have extra value now. The Wheel of Storm Sail now says curse skills have 100% duration instead of 25%. That is a buff. You can update that with the Divine Orb. And Jinx Juju, you can nerf it with the Divine Orb. That thing got real hard hit. All right. Has any of this affected Toxic Rain? No, not really. No. Elemental damage over time. Cold damage over time, burning and ignite are two dependent on elemental overload and elemental equilibrium. Shaq Central, he's a big cold damage over time specific guy. He's been worried about this. He's been tweeting about it. Let's see. Solution, greatly improve the base strength of ignite, burning, and cold dot while making EO and EE less powerful or require more investment with damage over time skills. Rebalance skills that could apply ignite effects around the new base damage and remove ignite damage multipliers. All right. This is where all the numbers are. Holy cow. All right. What else do we got here? Burning Arrow was too complex. Ignite builds. All right. How big are these? All right. We just got one big one. Okay. Player Ignite now inherently deals 150% more damage than before. Cold damage over time now deals more damage. Whoa, that's a big, yeah, that's huge. That they basically just gave it 50% more damage. Creeping Frost at level 20, look at that. From 1300 to 2200. Wintertide Brand now goes from 261. It goes from 164 to 261. Yeah, so they're all scaling it by similar amounts here. Pretty okay. So I mean, we're just gonna be looking at those numbers, right? 50% more damage, or what is it? It's like 80% more damage on all of these. I mean, let's see. 1391 divided by 22.5. Okay, so 63%. We're looking at 63% increased damage across the board, which is more, right? That's more damage actually. Okay. DoT builds are on the menu? Perhaps. Let's see. Vortex. What do they change here? They nerfed its crit chance. Yeah, who cares? That's a weird like little number fiddly thing. All right. Burning skills now deal more damage. Okay, well, let's do the numbers. 2459 divided by 3899. Yeah. 63 across the board. 63% more damage across the board. Pretty cool. And this simplifies your build, right? You don't have to worry about doing elemental equilibrium and elemental overload, right? But I assume you can still do them and get some more damage. That's what it sounds like. Righteous Fire. Yep. And now deals 35% of life and energy shield as base fire damage per second instead of 20. Wow. And it'll now sacrifice 158. Vol RF now sacrifices 158% of life and energy shield. Oh my god. Vol RF stings. That's not just a easy slot in to get some damage anymore, huh? Ugh. Fire Trap. Yeah. Okay, so they got those damage numbers up. Infernal Legion support. Yep. 66 looks like 63% more damage across the board here. Many skills that had an ignite multiplier have had that multiplier removed. The skill has been balanced to compensate for this. If necessary, certain skills have been rebalanced due to the change to the base ignite damage. Note that examples below do not include elemental overload or equilibrium. Fireball no longer has more damage with ignite. It now has a 25% chance to ignite at all gem levels. Okay, so you can use it with non-crit. Oh, no. That's a nerf. Got it. Yep. Okay, Vol Fireball. Yeah, they want you to invest into crit if you want to be able to get the damage. Got it. Vol Fireball no longer has, yep, same thing. Discharge has 55% less damage with ailments. Because of basic night damage changes, it is still 60% higher. Yep. Flame Blast, Vol Flame Blast. Ooh, Vol Flame Blast is now 82% higher at 10 stages. Incinerate now has 250% more. It's now, okay. I like that they're putting the clarification of what it actually is after. Okay, so I understand these. I want to know what they want to, like, I get it, right? These are the number tweaks. What are they doing to EO, right? And EE. So Elemental Overload, Keystone passive skill, now grants more hit and ailment elemental damage to skills if they crit in the last 8 seconds. This means that you can't use a second rapidly hitting skill, making a small amount of critical chance investment. Oh, it's per skill now, not global. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So Elemental Overload, that skill has to be able to crit at least once every 8 seconds if you want to get value out of it. Okay. Yep. No more Stormbrand tech. No more no more orb on the ground or anything like that. You need to use no more lightning golem tech as well, right? I'm assuming that's going to be the same thing for EE or similar. Okay, interesting. So you want to put a little bit of crit chance investment. Exactly. Elemental Equilibrium now applies 25% exposure of the elements not hit with, removing exposure of the elements you hit with. It's now an easy way to apply a strong exposure effect rather than a huge damage boost that we balanced elemental damage over time. Okay, so it is, okay. So Elemental Equilibrium is just exposure. Okay. So the Elemental Equilibrium's weird, right? Exposure is generally pretty easy to get right now. So the question is, are they going to remove exposure in other places or what? This is overall a nerf because exposure is already easy to get. It is a very strong exposure, right? 25% exposure, I think, is the strongest in the game right now. I could be slightly off, but it is on the stronger side. Regular Hydrosphere is 10%. I think Frostbomb is 15%. Raiders, Avatar of the Veil is 20%. So I think this is the strongest exposure you can get in the game right now. So there is that. But exposure is really easy to get. Elemental Equilibrium is funky to path to for a lot of builds. So I think, it's now a niche passive that you have to consider. Okay. We'll be looking at pure elemental minions to determine what changes are needed to be there. Moved the Elemental Equilibrium Keystone passive to the Ranger section, where there is much less existing access. Oh! I was going to say, it's funky to path to right now. Okay, they're moving it. So this is doubly weird because Raider has the easiest exposure in the game. Templars are shaking it. Templars are in shambles. Yeah. Raider has it for free. And Raider can, and also Deadeyes, any build that is using Aznaz Chant or anything like that. Anyone that's using Trigger, any Ice Nova cast on crit builds can use Frostbomb, Hydrosphere. All of those things can automatically trigger. I don't see a world where a Ranger takes Elemental Equilibrium. Yeah, I guess we do have to look for the Ascendancy changes. But in the current world, I'm just talking right now with what we know right now. This is a thing that Tarky called out where we can only react with what we know, right? So take everything that I'm saying with a bucket of salt. I am just reacting based on what I see in my current knowledge. All of that is always up in the air. That is also why I don't like to make full predictions. All I can do is say what the consequences of what I'm reading right now. Absolutely. Really? There's other ascendancies than Raider? That's weird. Doesn't make sense to me. Anyway.
Oh, Frostbolt? Pew, pew, pew.
Yo, Nemnas, thanks for the follow. Oh, there is a cultist. Okay. Weird, crazy stuff, man. More scaling options have been added to damage over time. There are now 5 tiers of the global damage over time suffix that rolls on all weapons. going up to 45%. There are now 5 tiers of global damage over time that rolls on amulets, going up to 26%. All right, here's what we do. We go to Craft of Exile. Is this a buff or a nerf? Yo, Dev, thanks for the host, man. How you doing? Staff, damage over time. Wait. Okay, so currently it goes to 35%. Now it goes to 45%. So they're adding, and how many tiers is this? There's currently 3 tiers. So they're adding 2 more tiers. Two more tiers just for 10%. So is there like a crappier tier?
Oh,
right?
Frostbolt?
So
Pew, pew, pew.
each tier is 10%. Oh, each tier is only 5%. Okay, never mind. They're adding 2 more tiers. Each one's 5% more. Gotcha. So tier 2 is going to be 35 to 40, then 40 to 45. Got it. Okay, yo, Punisher. Thanks for the follow. Welcome. Got it. Okay, the influence modifiers on rings. Also, it's a hard mod to hit, right? There's no tags on these, just a damage tag. And so this is just more RNG for sadness. All right. And if we look at how they weight it, they're all equally weighted, so that's not too bad. We'll see if that gets rebalanced. The influence modifiers on rings that had a chance to apply Ignite, Freeze, and Shock, as well as flat damage, have been changed. Interesting. I use those. They no longer provide a chance to apply the ailment, but provide a lot more damage. I think that's better. Chance to avoid ailment is only for non-crit builds. So if you already crit, you don't care. The fire version rolls up to 30 to 54 damage against ignited enemies. Let's compare. Let's compare to what we got right now. Always good to not react with, pure emotions. Let's take a look. The influence modifier. So let's take a look at chance to freeze and 12 to 30 cold damage. And let's see. Chance to freeze 16 to 36. What is the cold one here? 26 to 48. Okay. That's a big chunk of damage. That's a big chunk more damage. Essence of Delirium no longer gives you hexes, have more doom, no damage over multiplier on amulets. Okay, I was a little worried about the if they were going to change the gloves. Instead, it now rolls 12 to 15% on rings. Hello. Bane Occultist, guys. You can get 15 damage over time multipliers on each of your Iolite rings now, instead of using Essence of Envy. Woo-hoo-hoo. There you go. And look at that if you are a Toxic Rain style build or Caustic Arrow, something like that. That's a buff. That is a buff. TR's looking real good right now. Okay. Fire, Cold, Physical, and Chaos dot modifiers on jewels now have values of 6 to 8 instead of 3 to 4. Wow. There's a new global dot modifier that can roll on all jewels with a value of 4 to 6. Holy cow. This is insane. This is so much. This is so much more damage for like I'm just thinking through the lens of my build, right? Holy cow. All right. League of Dots. Yeah. All jewels can now all jewels can now roll a faster damage of ailments prefix up to 6% faster. That's insane. That's bonkers. Let's say you stack 6 jewels, 36% faster damage of ailments if you have that on 6 different jewels. Absolutely bonkers. Whoa. Ignite? Those Ignite builds. Ignite, Poison's kind of feeling it too. Poison's thinking about it. They snuck this in here. This is a single little line right here. Do not sleep on this. This is gigantic.
Come on, horsies.
Yo, Lorio, 2 months with Twitch Prime. Yo, cheers. Thank you. Oh my God. Okay. Cheermatic, the answer is you don't delve. You do heist. Not even kidding. If you want fossils early, heist. The chance to ignite, freeze, shock suffix modifiers on weapons now have multiple tiers with their chances of 10, 15, and 20% respectively. Staves have 20, 25, and 30%.
Come out, horses.
Yo, Kolzig, PoE equals DoT, baby. Let's go. Thank you for the resub, man. So you can get a 30% on a staff, a 30% chance to ignite, freeze, and shock suffix. That's a big percent. Damage over time multiplier on influence gloves and amulets now go up to 20% instead of 16. Yep. Faster ignite and poison and bleed modifiers on boots go up to 12%. All right, 20% more faster. And Ember Wake was a little too strong. Yeah, yep. And the downside has gotten weak over time due to adding more sources of faster ignite. It no longer has ignited enemies burn slower. It now has 40% less burning damage. This change does not affect existing items. Yep, I mean, Ember Wake was just a go-to. Fair enough. I think that's fair with all the changes. All right. Those are crazy changes, guys. Oh, wow. I mean, as someone who's looking at, Toxic Rain and, I mean, we'll see the patch notes, but with TR and Bane, ED, Blight, all of those things, they're looking juicy. All right. Burning Arrow is too complex for a level 1 skill. Solution, redesign it without a secondary stacking burning effect, but with high added fire damage against ignited enemies. No longer has a stacking burning effect. Now deals 150% base damage, unchanged, up to 214 from 184. Now adds up to 200 to 300 fire damage against ignited enemies. Now has an attack speed of 90% instead of 100, and whatever chance to ignite. That's a lot of flat damage. That's a gigantic, big old chunk of flat damage. It's going to feel slow, though. I mean, it's going to be really slow attack speed. Yeah, you can Flame Wall Burning Arrow. Yep, get even more flat damage on there. Okay. I mean, it's simple. It makes sense. It doesn't stack burning, but that's okay. There's potential there. Ignite builds don't have a way to focus their damage. You can use the Salem, yeah. You silly Billy. Ignite builds don't have a way to focus their damage on bosses, forcing balance to be the same for clear speed damage and boss damage. Change Flame Surge and introduce a new attack-based mechanic to be able to deal much more burning damage to a targeted enemy. Huh. Flame Surge is getting a new Burning Ground mechanic that deals damage based on ignites to the target. We're investigating a similar mechanic for attacks. Oh. Interesting. What are they gonna like? Okay. And we want to stress that these posts are not final. Plenty of stuff can still change. Got it. Yeah. Wooks, that's a good way to say, the good way to talk about it. Yeah, kind of sounds like Snaring Arrow for bleed. It's like it's a kind of, but it's like the kind of almost the inverse where the Snaring Arrow will be the damage that you're doing. The Flame Surge might actually be the single target damage instead of boosting the damage of the bleed. Interesting. Cool. I think it's cool. How does Hexblast look? New disease? I think Hexblast is looking. There is a Doom. This right here. There is a notable. A new passive notable says 20% chance for hexes to be applied at max Doom, and hexes have 50% increased Doom gain rate. You stack 2 of those, and you can hit max Doom in like half a second. I think that's pretty cool for Hexblast. There's some cool stuff for it. Yeah. And you can do the Black Flame Hex Blast now because all of the Ignite buffs. Pretty cool things. Yeah, what's Flame Surge? That's a good question, Cheese Dot. It's a thing in the game right now that not everyone's aware of. Yeah, so this is crazy stuff. I agree, Eris. I'm totally fine with Standard just being insane and them leaving it alone. There must be systemic reasons in the background why they don't leave things alone. My preference, I've talked about this a number of times. I would love if I could kind of just enshrine my characters, like put them in some sort of like Carbonite freeze, so that like maybe I can just run an example T16 map, fight a boss in a void, and they're basically in a void zone. They can't interact with anything outside of the void zone, but I can at least like play the character, experience what it was like at the time that I made it. I have multiple characters in Standard that are just unplayable and dead, and it's sad, but I guess just take pictures, record video of your memories, and remember what you had, because that's just the way it works. Oh, man. You're on the Path of Exile game page. All the Twitch streamers have the manifesto open. Yeah. I mean, that's the way she goes, man. But I mean, that's the thing is, yeah, we can't. I don't want to poo-poo Standard. I know people play it, but this is the way that Standard's always been treated. I would, it's just always been like this since day one, right? There's no guarantees. I would just say, like, if you're gonna play Standard, think of it as like every time there's a new patch, you're gonna have to make new characters. You're gonna have to make new things. That's how they keep it fresh for everybody. There is no perfectly thing frozen in Carbonite that is perfect forever. It's definitely sad if you want to hold on to things, but that's just, you gotta accept that that's the way it is. Colbot is the most OP support. Colbot is the most OP support. Yeah, I mean, Colbot's gonna be, it's still there, but they nerfed the other things about it still, right? So that's still there. You're still gonna be able to do MF. There's still gonna be group play. There's gonna be MF groups, doing Southbound, stacking Magic Find, doing all those sorts of little shenanigans. It's still gonna be really strong. You're gonna still see Empyrean out there making 10 mirrors on the first weekend because his group is very efficient. It's honestly, group play is more about the group dynamics of them being able to have a dedicated trader that is taking advantage of weak market or early young market economics, and the fact that they just have so many people playing at peak efficiency, taking advantage of everything at the same time. No matter what they change, no matter what they nerf, that's just going to be the nature of things. So that's just it is what it is. Unless they like dramatically change the ability for people to do like cross trading with each other and stuff like that. Yeah, record a video of your memories. Yeah. Does the aura cluster changers mean Necromancer is dead too? Since you no longer really upgrade party, just auras for yourself? That is a good question, Yapuku.
Oh, Frostbolt?
That is a really good question. Yo, Gerald, thanks for the follow. Yeah, I wouldn't say Necromancer's dead. Necro is just super, super strong. But no. So aura stacking, like hard aura stacking Necromancers got nerfed. The ones that are just like that they basically are aura stackers that happen to be a Necro that has minions. But traditional Necros, if anything, they got buffed because they're able to possibly reserve 1 or 2 additional auras and still do a traditional build. So I think, they're fine, man. Yeah, no, Ziska, yeah, I'm with you, man. Group play is still the same. Yep, all they did is Yep, group play will always be super OP unless something very fundamental changes, right? Like we had group play with people having just curse spots, just someone focus on auras. Nifty Dolphin, thanks for following. We had people just focused on auras. They didn't have aura stacking or aura bots or pure aura bots, right? But they still were there, right? There's still people with auras still contributing, and they would stack the auras across multiple party members, and they were still making other mirrors, right? They're still just going to be there. They didn't nerf group play. They nerfed solo aura stackers the most, for sure. PoE Rip Morn, Gerald? No, I think I'm excited. I'm excited for these things. It's about, we lived through 3.15. this isn't, these are like buffs and like weird changes. Certain things are nerfed, certain things are buffed. Right? Like reading through these things, damage over time is looking very juicy. I'm incredibly excited to do it. The thing I'm just going to have to figure out is the defenses, because I can't rely on Phase Acro and Wind Dancer anymore. So, there's some challenges that we have to figure out, but other things are getting buffed. It is not blanket nerfs across the board like last league. Damage over time is looking crazy juicy right now, though. Well, this is really, really interesting. I'm really, really new disease. Thanks for following. I'm really, really excited to give these things this a shot, man. With the flash changes, ailments are less of an issue. Defenses are gonna be weird. That's a weird thing. Definitely felt like more nerfs than buffs, at least for where I play, how I usually build. I don't think they fully thought through all of the consequences, to be honest, of the defense stuff. But there were some really, really good changes. And this is mostly all really good. This is like, there's nothing here that I'm just like, oh my God, this is awful. So I am like very, very excited about this for sure.